And as we turn our attention to Chelsea Football Club, you tweeted yesterday that Chelsea are set to reach an agreement and personal terms with Christoph Freund to become their director of football. And what more can you tell us about that deal?
Yes, it's almost done. It will be completed, I think, this week already. They are discussing with Red Bull Salzburg to get it signed as soon as possible, but Freund has already informed Red Bull Salzburg of his agreement with Chelsea. It was not easy for him because he's always been more than respectful with Salzburg. He loves the project. He loves the Red Bull group and what they're building. So it was not easy. He already received many proposals from Premier League, from Bundesliga in the last 2-3 years, and he always wanted to stay. But at this point, to work at Chelsea with a new project, long-term project, with a manager like Graham Potter, was really happy to have a director like Freund to work together behind the scenes and rebuild Chelsea. So it was a big opportunity. He has accepted. Everything will be completed very soon, but it's done. Really interesting appointment for Chelsea. I'm not surprised, honestly, because Freund is very good with young players, with talents, with making profit with players. Imagine that he did more than 500 million euros profit with players trading in the last few years with Salzburg. It's really impressive what he did and what kind of players they trusted at Salzburg tend to his work and the world board work. But I can mention Erling Haaland when they signed him from Molde. I can mention Mane. I can mention Naby Keita. I can mention Upamecano. Many players, important players that they signed and then they sold at the right moment. So very smart director, young guy with very clear ideas, very good with data, and this is really important for Todd Boehly. So I think a very smart appointment for Chelsea. It will be official soon, and a very interesting structure now with Potter, with Todd Boehly, who will always be there, and with Freund as director.
We'll get deep into it in a minute with Chelsea Football Club, but why would Red Bull allow this to happen, Fabrizio? Because clearly, as you mentioned, some of the names there, these are young players who have come through the conveyor belt of talent at Red Bull Salzburg. They've either gone on to Leipzig and played Champions League football or been sold for big, big money elsewhere. Why would Red Bull allow an important piece like Christoph Freund to leave and go to a Chelsea? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yes, but at some point they know that he really turned down many opportunities because he wanted to stay, he wanted to continue the project. But when it's about Chelsea and this kind of project where he will have real power to decide, this is really important for Freund to have the power to decide many things into the club and into the transfer strategy. He asked them to go, and they know that when a director wants to go, when they make a decision, you can't change the situation. So they tried to discuss with him, to tempt him to stay, to improve the situation around him, to improve the contract, the salary, but it was not about the contract. He wanted something new. He wanted a new chapter, and it was almost impossible for them to change his mind.
Mm-hmm. Matt Osborne's just dropped a comment and asking, is there any information on which players he can help in the squad and which players might be in danger because of this appointment of Christoph Freund? Good question from Matt Osborne right there.
Yes, honestly, Matt, I would lie to you if I say some names because he's not at Chelsea yet. So I don't know what he's going to do at Chelsea, but what I'm sure is that he's going to work on young players for present and future. This is the right direction. This is the vision for Chelsea. They already signed many important talents this summer, right? Because they signed Gaga Slonina, they signed Cesare Casadei from Inter, many young players around Europe for the future of the club. With Freund, they will continue. But about players in danger, keep an eye on the players out of contract next summer. N'Golo Kante, Jorginho, they have many situations to clarify internally at Chelsea, especially these two players. And so this is really important to see what happens with Kante and Jorginho, because the midfield rebuild will be one of the missions for Freund.
How long do you expect him to sign a contract for? It's another great question dropping into the comments right now.
I think it will be a long one. It will be a long-term contract, so similar as Potter, 4 or 5 years. Because when you start a project with the director and with the manager, usually it's always with the same contract. So it will be a long-term deal.
Yeah, Fabrizio, whenever you start a project like this and you bring in a director of football that's had tremendous success, like he has had, Christoph Freund, you could tell that Todd Boehly wants a bigger picture. It's not just about Chelsea Football Club that maybe he's making this appointment. He's also mentioned, following the Red Bull system or the City Football Group system, where we may see multiple football clubs being bought by Todd Boehly and his investment group. Is this the biggest piece in the puzzle, the first step in the puzzle for Chelsea and their long-term plans, making sure that they've got Christoph Freund in place, they can start signing these young players and start to really make some money on these big-time players?
Yes, I think yes. Then this is a very good question, and I'm 100% convinced that this is the direction, this is the vision for Chelsea to try to build something like this. As you mentioned, Freund is very good with this kind of approach. He's very good with young talents, but they already started this process this summer. They signed many players, young players, born in 2003, 2002, 2004 in some cases. So they spent real big money on these players. Also, Carney from Aston Villa is a fantastic talent. AC Milan wanted him, and they signed him for £20 million in one afternoon. After 2 meetings, they decided to invest him in immediately. So the direction is already clear to have other clubs to try to build kind of system like the City Football Group or the Red Bull Group is a mission for Chelsea. It's never easy in football, we have to mention. So he needs some time because now he's rebuilding Chelsea. There is a new manager. Chelsea fans, of course, want Chelsea to win as soon as possible. You can't wait 2, 3, 4 years at Chelsea. You need to win immediately. But I'm sure that Todd Bowley vision is with Freund and with many other people into the club to have something like that, to have a group and to make Chelsea really great in the next few years.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, I spent a bit of time with Ferran Soriano, obviously a part of City Football Group, and what they have done at City has been incredible. And he talked about all of the clubs that they have bought and purchased. And, you know, when I was speaking to him, they just bought another club. That was not too long ago. Do you think it will be long before we see Todd Bowley announce that he is purchasing another football club to add to the Chelsea system?
Not so long, I think. Not so long. Maybe it will take some months. Of course, maybe it will be 2023, but not so long. This is his vision. So I think it's something that could happen soon. I don't know how soon, but it's something that he has in mind. So this will be the mission. And let me say that I agree 100% with you on Ferran Soriano, Chiki Begiristan. What they are doing for the City Football Group is incredible. It's really, really incredible. And they are really smart. They are really good. What they do. I always mention Julian Alvarez as you can be good in this kind of strategy. Julian Alvarez was fantastic for every play. He had the release clause, and many top European clubs were looking for a striker, but they were waiting on Julian Alvarez. They decided to invest on him. It was around 17, 18 million euros. And look at him now. Already great with Manchester City. And if you want his value right now, it could be around 50, 60 million. And he played 2-3 games with Man City. This is when you have the strategy, when you are smart with the whole group and with people taking charge of the group.
Yeah, it's amazing. Ian Joy with Fabrizio Romano. You're watching Qué Golazo. We're about to wrap up another awesome show with Fabrizio. Yesterday, you broke the news that Brighton found their man in Roberto De Zerbi. I guess the question would be details of the contract, and is he happy, De Zerbi, to be taking on this deal?
Yes, 4-year deal for Roberto De Zerbi at Brighton. Really interesting appointment, let me say, because this manager in Italy, we know how special he is, because what he did with Sassuolo is impressive. With young players, trusting young players. Many players have been sold to Inter, Juventus, Milan. So many of the players you saw in the Italy squad last summer to win the Euros was also thanks to Roberto De Zerbi, who did an incredible job with many of them. And now, big opportunity for him. He was very good at Shakhtar too. Then it was a complicated situation in Ukraine, so he decided to try something different. But now, with Premier League chance at Brighton, I think is the perfect place for him. They trust young players. He's very good with talents. He has very clear ideas, always playing with his 4-3-3 system, with the wingers to have a lot of quality, a lot of skills. So I'm sure this is the perfect project for him. He's really attracted. He was really attracted by the Premier League since a long time, because he always wanted to try this Premier League experience. I think it's a really smart appointment by Brighton.